Hello, I am from International Scientific Research and Publications. In this video, we will be discussing about what is an abstract and how to write an abstract in your research paper. Let us know first what is an abstract. An abstract is a short summary of a longer work, such as a thesis, dissertation, or a research paper. The abstract consciously reports the aims and outcomes of your research so that readers know exactly what your paper is about. Although the structure may vary slightly depending on your discipline, your abstract should describe the purpose of your work, the methods you have used, and the conclusions you have drawn. Abstracts are usually around 100 to 300 words, but there is often a strict word limit, so make sure to check the relevant requirements of an abstract. And the most important thing, we have to know that when to write an abstract. You will almost always have to include an abstract when completing a thesis or dissertation, when submitting a research paper to an academic journal, and you have to write an abstract when writing a book or a research proposal, or else applying for research grants. It is easiest to write your abstract last, right before the proofreading stage, because it is a summary of a work you have already done. Your abstract should be a self-contained content, not an excerpt from my paper. Be fully understandable on its own. Reflects the structure of your larger work. Let us move on with the first step of an abstract, which is the introduction part. You have to write an introduction of your abstract. You have to start by clearly defining the purpose of your research. What practical or theoretical problem does the research respond to, or what research questions did you aim to answer? You can include some brief content on the social or academic relevance of your topic, but don't go into detailed background information. If your abstract uses specialized terms that would be unfamiliar to the average academic reader or that have various different meanings, give a concise definition. After identifying the problem, state the objective of your research. Use verbs like investigate, test, analyze, evaluate to describe exactly what you set out to do. The part of the abstract can be written in the present or the past simple tense, but should never refer to the future as the research is already completed. This study will investigate the Let us see the example. This study will investigate the relationship between coffee and coffee consumption and productivity. So in this statement, it is will, so it is in the future form. Let's read the another sentence. The study investigates the relation between coffee consumption and productivity. This is not in the future form, so this is the perfect abstract statement. So introduction part. Let's move on to the second step, which is methods. Next step. This step includes the research methods that you used to answer your question. So this method will help you to find the process or the methods or the any intention for your research projects that you are answering the question. This part should be a straightforward description of what you did in one or two sentences. It is usually written in the past simple tense as it refers to completed actions. For example, structured interviews will be conducted with 25 participants. This is not in past simple tense. So let's read this second one. Structured interviews were conducted with 25 participants. So it is in the past. So you should not or don't evaluate validity or obstacles here. The goal is not to give an account of the methodology strengths and weakness, but to give the reader a quick insight into the overall approach and procedures you used. And the third step, which is the results. You have to summarize the main research results. This part of the abstract can be in the present or the past simple tense. So this sentence can be in the present or the past. For example, Our analyses show a strong correlation between coffee consumption and productivity. So this is a perfect sentence. Then, depending on how long and complex your research is, you may not be able to include all results here. So, try to highlight only the most important findings that will allow the reader to understand your conclusions. Then the last step, fourth step, which is discussion. Finally, you should discuss the main conclusions of your research. What is your answer to the problem or the question? The reader should finish with a clear understanding of the central point that your researchers had proved or argued. Conclusions are usually written in the present simple tense. So let's take one example. We concluded that coffee consumption increases productivity. So this is a wrong sentence. So let's read the other one. We conclude. So concluded is a past tense and we conclude is a present. So we conclude that coffee consumption increases productivity. So if there are important limitations to your research, for example related to your sample size or methods, you should mention them briefly in an abstract. This allows the reader to accurately assess the credibility and generalizability of your research. If your aim was to solve a practical problem, your discussion might include recommendations for implementation. If relevant, you can briefly make suggestions for your future research. So, I am going to give you some tips for writing an abstract which will be helpful for you. So, let's get into it. It can be a real challenge to consider or condense your whole work into just a couple of hundred words. But the abstract will be the first and sometimes only part the people read. So it is important to get it right. These strategies can help you to get started. You have to read other abstracts. The best way to learn the conversations of writing an abstract in your discipline is to read the other people's abstract. So you probably already read lots of journals, articles, abstracts while conducting your literature review. So we had already discussed how to write a literature review. If you don't know, it is in our channel. Please check the video. Try using them as a framework for structure and style. You can also find a lots of dissertation abstract examples in thesis and dissertation databases. And the second step, which is reverse outline. Not all abstracts will precise the same elements. For longer works, you can write your abstract through a process of reverse outlining. For each chapter or section, list keywords and draft 1 to 2 sentences that can summarize the central point or argument. This will give you a framework of abstract structure. Next, revise the sentence to make connections and show how the argument develops. So, and the last thing, which you have to write clearly and concisely. A good abstract is short but impactful. So make sure every word counts. Each sentence should clearly communicate one main point. And the next thing, check your format of an abstract. If you are writing a thesis or a dissertation or submitting a journal or submitting to a journal, there are often specific formatting requirements for the abstract. Make sure to check the guidelines and format of your work correctly.
If you like my video, please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon.